How's it going, Starseekers? Gotcake here, and in this review we're going to be taking a look at Aircraft Evolution, an action game where you pilot many different aircraft through 4 eras of warfare, utilising various types of bombs to destroy enemy troops, buildings and aircraft. Now the main menu of the game is rather empty looking, and it doesn't provide you with much to give you the tinglies down below, and even the music gives up after about a minute, slowly fading to nothingness. Checking out the game's options menu, we've got some difficulty, language and audio settings, as well as a slider for stick sensitivity, and we see a sweet looking white Pro controller showing us the game's controls. Now this menu is also a bit of a ball ache to navigate, as the arrows only dim slightly so you can barely see what you've got selected. Heading back out to the main menu, we can now jump into the game's one and only mode, Campaign. Here we get an overview menu that looks very much like one that you'd find in a smartphone game, but I did do a bit of research and I could only find a version of the game on an APK site, so it doesn't look like the game actually saw its mobile debut on either Android or iOS. Taking a look at the top of the screen, we see an experience bar, a green C icon which is the game's currency, and then we see a bunch of other icons which are consumables that can be used in battle. The first 2 of these are repair and fuel items, and the next 4 are 4 types of bombs. Now the game is split into 4 eras, each covering a different period of war, and the visuals of the enemies and buildings change to reflect this. Era 1 covers the early days of warfare in World War I, Era 2 is set in World War II, Era 3 features modern day technology, and Era 4 is set in the future. Taking a quick look at the buttons across the bottom, the first of these takes us to our hangar where we get to see our lovely little balsa wood plane. We can spend credits here to upgrade our plane, improving its armour, fuel, speed and manoeuvrability, and we can also improve its weapons. Each upgrade of this particular plane costs 50 credits, but upgrades on more advanced aircraft are more expensive. The second icon takes us to the shop, where we have an assortment of planes that we can buy. As the planes get more advanced and the base stats improve, they increase in cost, but each plane is also locked behind a level barrier, so we can't actually buy any right now. We can also see this is the case for buying additional bombs, with level 3 being required to unlock the cluster bomb for purchase. The third and final button takes us back to the mission select screen where we can jump into our first mission. Now in the opening missions we get some little signs suspended by balloons showing us the ropes. We can direct our aircraft with a left thumbstick and we can hold A to speed up. But doing this chugs through more fuel, and our fuel gauge can be seen next to our health gauge in the top left. Our objective in this first mission is to destroy the marked target, and we can drop bombs on it by pressing the Y button. We also get a standard machine gun attack, but it's practically useless in these first aircraft. So in the top right we can see our various types of bomb and can cycle through them using the right thumbstick. We have 5 bombs available to us in the game, and we have unlimited uses of our first standard bomb, which is pretty pathetic if I'm being honest. We then have limited numbers of the 4 other bombs, which include cluster bombs which explode into 5 miniature bombs, napalm which ignites the ground for a period of time, heavy bombs which deal large amounts of damage to buildings, and the almighty super heavy bomb which explodes with the force of a billion fireworks or something along those lines. So after much fannying around we eventually destroy the first target with our poxy little bombs, and it's on to the second mission. In this one we have to destroy every unit, and since I had a whale of a time using my standard bombs in the first mission, I decided to really push the boat out and use some cluster bombs in this one. I also learned that if you plough into the ground, you explode and fail the mission, and your spent bombs are not returned to you. While we're on the topic of death, it's worth noting that if you lose all of your health or fuel, you'll also explode. So initially I was playing on normal difficulty, and a couple of hits from enemy projectiles will destroy your aircraft. Playing the game on very hard mode, you'll die in one hit without an upgraded aircraft. So for the sakes of getting through the game for this review, I stuck the game on easy, where I could take a leisurely flight through a hail of enemy fire without occurring in the world. If you do find your health or fuel running low, you can hit the L or R button to pop a repair or fuel pill and top them back up to full. You'll also spot crates containing additional fuel, repairs and bombs being airdropped into the battle zone, which you can snag by flying into them. So I cracked on through the levels, and these generally fell into 5 categories. You have levels where you need to destroy specific targets like the first level, ones where you have to kill all units, which I believe only means all ground units, but there's no unit count to tell you this, so I usually just resorted to carpet bombing the whole level. There are levels where you need to blow up all the buildings, which will usually see you using through tens of cluster bombs or heavy bombs. Races, where you have to weave your way through a bunch of floating mines to reach the finish line before the timer reaches 0, though I don't remember these being an integral part of any World War. And finally we have the dogfight levels, where you get to test your skills against other ace pilots. The last mission of each era features a boss battle against a war machine of that era, which are not bad but don't present a huge challenge, at least not on easy difficulty. Each era also contains a single bonus level where you get to grab as many boxes as you can within a time limit, but you can only complete these once. But here's a cheeky little exploit I'll give you for free. Grab as many purple bombs as you can and then quit out before the timer runs out. You get to keep the bombs you collected, get to replay the level again, and you can do this as many times as you like. So you earn some XP and credits for both completing a level and for each troop you defeated in it, and leveling up will also earn you a bunch of additional credits. And apart from the bonus stages, you can replay every level as many times as you like, and can also change the difficulty up if you want a bit more of a challenge. So when it comes to my experience with Aircraft Evolution, I initially thought I was going to hate it based on the in-app purchase style credit system and the requirement to buy a load of additional bombs just to try and get through levels, but to be honest it wasn't actually that bad and they weren't that intrusive. Now admittedly I played the game on easy and I could see it being a lot more of an issue on harder difficulties, but I quite enjoyed carpet bombing my way through levels, decimating anything that stood in my way. Graphically, the game doesn't really stand out, and they reminded me of those old Newground Flash games, but there was some decent variation to aircraft and enemy sprites, and several different environments. Now each era in the game basically features the same set of levels, with the only real difference being more powerful enemy troops, so gameplay does get a bit repetitive, but it's easy to play and quite a relaxing experience on easy mode. My favourite thing to do in the game was to max my aircraft's armour, and then fly along at ground level bulldozing my way through anything, before sweeping back around to carpet bomb any stragglers that I'd missed. Now the only real issues I experienced while playing was firstly some stuttery frame rate when travelling across levels, especially in faster planes, and secondly a bug when fighting the Era 3 boss, which causes the game's frame rate to shit itself and drop to about 1 frame per second. So now it's time to rate Aircraft Evolution. Now I rate games between 1 and 5 stars, with a shovelware stamp of approval reserved for the worst games on the eShop. This rating is based on my own personal opinion on what games have to offer in terms of gameplay and value for money to potential buyers. And for a rating I'd give Aircraft Evolution 2 out of 5 stars. Despite the fact that it was clearly originally destined to be a smartphone game, it's actually not a bad little action game which is enjoyable as a relaxing time filler. It does however suffer from some frame rate issues and gets a little repetitive, and I'd definitely say it's currently way overpriced. The game releases on the 22nd of July 2020, and you can pre-order it from the UK Switch eShop with 20% off for £7.19p, or from the US eShop for $7.99. Alternatively, the game's also available on Steam. And that's it for this review of Aircraft Evolution. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments section below, and as always, like and subscribe if you found it helpful, and get your ass on the Starseekers Discord to join the community there. For now though, I just want to say thanks once again for watching, and until next time, game on.